Okay, grab a seat. Grab a seat, feeling great. Who's ready to learn some more? Okay, so I'm going to spend about an hour and a bit with you before lunch, and then after lunch, I have another 3 hours with you. So we've got a lot to get through, okay? So you take lots of notes. We're going to pump through this. So yesterday, I talked about a lot of things. We talked about the two keys, organizing principles for growing your business is one, you must add what? Value. You must make a profit. We also looked at a lot of people have, because of personal development or self-worth issues, they don't often charge enough, and then our level of personal wealth will generally never exceed our level of personal development. Therefore, the greatest catalyst to creating change in our business is to change who? Ourselves. And by recognizing that you are the leader of your business or your organization, as you grow, you enable your business to grow. Because becoming a leader in business also has responsibilities. You become a leader in society effectively. You become a very successful entrepreneur. So you have responsibilities, and I say moral obligations as well, to make a difference in society. So we have to balance between adding value and charging enough. Get that balance wrong, you'll either go broke, or which one of the reasons most businesses do. As we say, some businesses don't add enough value. They're too much into charging and not adding value. Others are adding value but simply not making any money. We also looked at the concept you have to have enough zeros in what you do to make sure it is a profitable business. We also looked at the shortcut to success. The shortcut is to what? Model. And we looked at some examples as well of how many people become millionaires just by going to America, seeing what's working, getting ahead of a trend, and then copying, say, Home Depot, bringing it back to Australia and creating a Bunnings. Okay, or my friend that Groupon, coming back and creating something similar in Australia and creating a $50 million business in less than 2 years. Making sense? So that's one way we can do it, but it doesn't just mean we have to do that, but we can say whatever idea you have, someone's probably already done it already. So then we can, by modeling, we can get ideas and then make yours, what you do, uniquely different or better. Making sense? It's easier to start off a model up here than starting from scratch. We talked about yesterday that this mistake another lot of companies do, or entrepreneurs do, is they will spend all the time on creating a product, and when they've got that ready, then they'll go and say, how do I find a market for my product? Make sense? A mistake many people make. What we want to do first of all is go, okay, let's find the market, and then go find a product or service to meet that market. Making sense? Because then you have, like Bunnings, they knew they could raise capital because they had a model to run off. They had a greater degree of certainty that it would succeed, because it's already been proven before. We know the pioneers get the what? So we don't necessarily be the pioneers, but we want to then, once something's partly proven, looks like promising, then you want to get in there. Like Facebook was not the pioneer. Social networking, the idea of social networking and Facebooking was not a new idea. It was being thrown around. I mean, there was Friendster, which if you're in America, you would have known Friendster before Facebook. All the Harvard and a lot of the colleges were saying, we need a Facebook that's online. Because what a Facebook is like a yearbook. Remember, you go to school, you have your yearbook of all your classmates, and it's offline. So a lot of the Harvard, etc., and Stanford were saying, well, we need to put this online. So the idea was told to people, we need to put this online. Mark Zuckerberg was someone that actually took an idea and actioned it, but actioned it in a way that could add value and reach people, and become the world's youngest billionaire. Make sense? So we talked about yesterday, to be successful, it's often simple, not necessarily easy. True? So simplicity is the key. If you look at some of the greatest business models, some of the greatest entrepreneurs, they're doing things that are remarkably simple. Richard Branson's business model is very simple. He simply goes, is there an industry where there's a duopoly, or major one or two companies that are monopolizing the marketplace, charging too much, and providing poor service? Now, is there a lot of opportunity if you ask those questions, yes or no? Is there industries like that? So then the Virgin strategy is, if there's an industry like that, then they go, well, okay, can we go into that industry, undercut the top one or two companies in price, provide a unique or better service, and do it in a way that we can make a profit? If there is, they'll go into that market. Make sense? That's his effective strategy. Is that overly complex, yes or no? No. When you meet Richard's an incredibly simple person, okay? But very effective. Why? Because he's high in the definition of intelligence, what Albert Einstein calls intelligence, which is the ability to entertain a what? Idea. And as I added to it, the ability also to action and idea. So as entrepreneurs, it's all about action. We looked at yesterday 2 ways to make money. You either have money at work, the investor mindset, investor skills, or you can have people at work, the leverage of people. To do that, we have to become good at what? Delegating, true? And we'll look at that in just a moment. One of the critical skills. Richard Branson is very good at delegating. Very good at able to let go, put teams together, create a culture that's fun, people want to be a part of, and let them run the show. Making sense? And that's made him very wealthy. So we've got to look at that. We looked at, well, time plus money equals lifestyle, but time is one of our greatest assets, especially moving forward into the future. Today I'm going to go through the future business models, the new rules of business, and how that works. And it's not so much about capital. In the past, you used to have lots of capital, so a lot of people couldn't participate in certain industries or markets because they simply didn't have the money. Now the future challenge will not so much be money, because you don't need a lot of money. I mean, Facebook, did it need a lot of money? Well, it's consumed almost $1 billion in capital, but to start off with, it started off with $1,000, remember? Then $20,000, and they're able to raise the capital. So the idea is good enough, the money will flow. Jot that down. If the idea is good enough, the money will flow. Because why? There's people, investors out there, that are looking for the next big thing. One of the things that I'm doing is setting up just a small fund of $200,000 of my own money to back young entrepreneurs in the internet industry, in the internet, okay? Because I know you don't need to find a Facebook. A lot of these young entrepreneurs working from home have an idea. They only need $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to help capitalize on their idea. Now, if 9 out of 10 ideas don't make it to market and one does, you only need one to become a $2 million or $5 million or $10 million company to make a lot of money. Does that make sense? Okay? So there's a lot of opportunity if you want to become an investor investing in businesses. We also haven't even touched on buying businesses. We also looked at yesterday the question for a lot of you, because many of you are already in business, okay, and some of you are going, well, the challenge that some of you may have is that when you're seeing what you're hearing, if you're just filtering it through, how does this relate to my business? You could be limiting your potential. I want you to be thinking about not how does this just relate to my business today, but how does this relate to me as an entrepreneur in the future, of what other industries you can go into, what other businesses or expansion you can do. Does it make sense? Otherwise, you'll limit yourself and go, well, if I'm in the dairy business, okay, some of these things mightn't apply to you because you're not a price setter. That makes sense? You're a price taker. But even then, there's things that you can still do to some degree. And you say, well, how else can I expand and what else can I move into? Okay, like I've done as a serial entrepreneur, built many companies because I get bored just to the one thing. So I like to create, okay? And that's one of the 4 key skills we looked at yesterday. To earn a lot of money, we don't want just specialized knowledge. We need what sort of knowledge? Generalized knowledge, which was the 4 key skills. Those 4 key skills were the ability to market. And you say, well, Jamie, how can I rapidly increase my income? Which of the 4 skills should I focus on? Number 1 is marketing. Okay, we touched on that yesterday. I'm going to go through a lot more of that today. You're going to have Lou speak to you tonight about internet marketing, because that's a big part of the future for all of you. But marketing is a skill set. How did I become a multimillionaire? I went and modeled off people like Jay Abrahams, etc. We're going to look at his model for growing businesses. Why? Because he's one of the best on the planet. So that was a skill set that helped me make a lot of money. It helped me make a lot of money before I started my own companies by going and working my mentor companies and being an entrepreneurial manager, which some of you, that's all you want to do. Why go out and start your own business? It sounds sexy, but some of you, it's not what you should do. You should partner up with a good entrepreneur and run their companies. Make sense? You make as much money or sometimes more if you're a good entrepreneurial manager. Raise your hand if being an entrepreneurial manager is something that's of interest to you. Okay, and many of you, and even if it's just serving your apprenticeship in a company and then eventually start your own business. Or if you're really smart, you'll go, I'd rather take a slice of the pie. And just want to understand, if you're developing these skills, we're not just talking making a small amount of money. If you develop these skills, you can come along and say, well, if you want to take a business from, say, 0 to 30 million, that might take a decade. If you're an entrepreneurial manager, knowing everything that's been taught here this weekend, you can become one. Why? Because whether you build your own business or work in and building someone else's business, it's the exact same skill. Okay? It's far more money instead of doing that, which is, as you know, most businesses, 80% will fail in the first 5 years. And then after that, another 80% of those will fail. So the success rate to get through 10 years in a company and still growing, you have to be doing something outstanding. You have to be an innovator to be around that long. It's far easier to take these skills and say, and that's a lot of capital and a lot of risk to do something like that. To come along and say, go and apply and work in a company you have an interest in that's already maybe doing 30 million and help and apply these skills to increase their sales and reduce their expenses and take that company to say 100 million. Make sense? Are you adding a lot of value if you can take a company from 30 to 100 mil as an example? Now, whatever figures you work on this, from 3 to 10 mil, from 300 to a bill, I mean, the bigger the company, the more profit potential there is. That's like if you're in here and you have a decent sized company, you're going to monetize these ideas into a lot more money. Does that make sense? I mean, what are these ideas worth? Well, if you have a small business doing $1 million a year and you get a 200% increase, it's worth a lot of money to you. But if you're sitting in here and you have a business that's doing 10 or 50 mil and take some of these ideas and double your business to 100 mil, see how much these ideas become worth to you. That's where you start thinking in the bigger picture, because a lot of companies out there, by helping businesses go to that level, there's a big slice of the pie and you just take a percentage of that. Earn a lot of money. Okay, and that's why executives, entrepreneurial managers, get paid a lot of money. It's also why a lot of people have built their businesses and gone back and just become entrepreneurial managers. No overhead, no capital, no headache, but they're good at what they're doing to grow a business. Okay, for some of you, will think that way. Or grow your own business. Make sense? So we looked at the other key skills apart from marketing was negotiating, communicating better, even developing public speaking skills, because as an entrepreneur, you will have to promote your company's true. Whether you have to speak just to training your team or speak at conferences or speak to wherever you can to expose your business. Make sense? So there's skills that you might want to learn. We also looked at we need to be creative and problem solve, because as an entrepreneur, you've got to say, Jamie, I love problems. That's why I want to be an entrepreneur. Okay? And actually look forward to them as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to look at, because what you're ultimately after is quality problems. True? And that's what you're looking at. And enjoy the game. Now, the other rules that you can have around business is that business should be what? Should be fun. Business should be fun. Some people have the idea you don't mix business with pleasure, or that business should be hard work and you don't have fun elsewhere. Business, I believe, if you don't make business fun, you won't maintain your passion, you won't enjoy it. You spend a lot of time in business, you might as well enjoy it. And I've set up my business in a way that I enjoy it, have a lot of fun. If I don't enjoy it, why am I doing it? I mean, are you just doing it for the money? Well, you shouldn't be really. If it's just for the money, why are you doing it? Okay, because is that really what you want? You should be focused on how you can add a lot more value, okay, and enjoy your business experience. If it's just about the money, it's a recipe long term to fail, because you'll lose your passion, your drive, and you won't deliver the level that you could deliver if you're really passionate about your business. True? So you won't add as much value as you could, and you'll end up getting out of balance. Okay, so you really want to be in a business or businesses that you're passionate about. You want to achieve something that you're focused on. Okay, so all these things work. Then we looked at how to go specifically to market. Okay, we looked at the marketing funnel. Is that true? And we're going to go into some more detail of that. Understanding that you want to be in a position where you're not begging for customers. You want to have posture just like the banks do. The banks have you selling them why they should take you on as a client. When most people make the mistake in business, they're trying to sell clients to become a client of their business. You want to reverse sell. You want to change that. You have posture, and how you do that, you put yourself in a position of demand, where there's more potential prospects that want to deal with your companies than there is time for you to deal with them. Making sense? Whether you use the example of the dentist that made qualifiers that they would only deal with someone, you had to be referred by someone to be a client of his dental practice. And he created his clients A, B, C, D, remember? And some of you need to do that process with your clients and say, okay, I don't want to deal with A and B clients. C clients are going to get a letter saying, step up and be an A or B client, or go to a competitor, and D clients are basically completely sucked. Make sense? Okay. Then we looked at one of the marketing funnels. One of your qualifiers outside of a qualification is price. True? By raising your price, you'll automatically qualify clients better. And we looked at Damien Hirst as an artist. Most artists starting out are broke. That industry or whatever has this very poor money relationship. And that's why most artists are broke. Why? Because they're very creative. They have the creativity, but they don't often have the other skills to make money. Where Damien Hirst was an innovator. He immediately started off by taking the piss out of the industry, saying how do people pay millions of dollars for pieces of artwork? But he actually set it up and set a bench price mark at £2 million for his first piece of artwork. And he had a bench price and it's gone up ever since then. And he's a billionaire and, makes absolutely large amounts of money. Why? He had a product and he sold that product to people that can afford the product. Makes sense? In other words, a lot of people are trying to sell a product to people that can't afford it. It frustrates you and frustrates the client. Make sense? So we looked at it and we said, well, Jamie, I can't just charge more. In some industries, it's harder to charge more. If you're a franchisee, you don't have that. You don't have that control so much. But you want to look at and say, well, the word you're after is to segment. Is it true? Jot that down again. Do you want to understand this? These things are all $1 million ideas. What will stop you making these $1 million ideas is only action. Okay? All thinking this, I'm only relating this to my own little business right now, what I want to do. No, you should be saying, I'm an entrepreneur or an entrepreneurial manager. And this is about the skill set I need for anything I do in the future, not just the current thing that I do. Okay? So segment, in other words, you can have VIP or platinum clients. Okay? You can have first class on the airline, business class, premium economy, and economy. Same plane, but you're charging different prices for different markets. Making sense? That way you can go after different markets in your pricing. And we learn in any of these ideas and anything we do in life, what you must first initially do, you must test and what? Test and measure. So test and measure is critical. You don't roll out a campaign that's not tested. Because what if you get the price wrong? What if you charge too little or charge too much? You test on a small scale. If you're a franchise, you might test on one outlet. If you retail shop, one outlet. On the internet, it's easy to test and measure. Okay? And understand that often by increasing the price, what stops a lot of people doing that is they feel they'll lose customers. When often by charging more, you'll actually attract a different quality of customer where you can actually have margin, make a profit, and you can add more value because you're not so stressed out about going broke. True? So remember, we understand that as a consumer, you are a consumer, that you don't always want cheap, do you? You don't take a first date to McDonald's because it doesn't get you the result, okay? And the truth is in the what? Results. It doesn't matter whether we blame whatever happens in any endeavor we do in our life. The truth is in the result. So we want to get the result, whatever that result is, okay? And in business, it's to add value and to make a profit. If it's a charity, non-profit organization, it's to add value and still make a profit. Same thing. The profit in non-profit just goes back into the mission of what you're about. Now, a lot of you say, well, that's what my business does anyhow. It just all goes back in. So, making sense? So you got all these different ideas. Then we looked at, the hair salon, Stefan, the hair salon idea, saying what's a traditional type business where he gave away free haircuts and built a very famous chain of hair salons in Queensland. And that's how he really grew it, by giving away free haircuts. He realized, jot this down, the lifetime value of a client. He started to get an idea, what is the lifetime value of a client? He tests on a small scale, and once the test works, then you can say, well, if my lifetime value of my client is worth $2,000 to me over, say, the value, how long they stay, and I make $1,000 out of that, then he can go, well, it costs me $8 to buy a client, to acquire a client acquisition is what you're looking for, then he becomes like an investor. He goes, okay, well, how much am I going to invest to get the clients to grow my business? Making sense? An investor mindset, because that's really what you're doing. Just like if you raise capital, investors invest in your business, so what's the return on capital? So we start to look at it, because most businesses, one of the reasons they fail also is they don't even know what the lifetime value of their client is. They don't know how much they can spend to acquire a client. And often they're spending so much in advertising, the cost they're spending is above what they can make at the back end. When what we want to look at today and after lunch as well, and say, well, how do we extend massively the lifetime value of a client? Because if you can extend, let's say you're only making $1,000 off a client now, and you can extend that and make that $10,000 by doing some pretty simple things that we're going to look at, but these ideas can dramatically grow. We're not talking 10% here. This is when you're talking 3, 4, 500% growth instantly when you apply these ideas. So that's when you're looking at how do you extend that lifetime value of a client, okay? But then how do you extend rapidly at the top of the funnel to get so many raving fans and prospects rapidly by giving away something for free? And we're going to look at the new rules of business, which is largely around free as well. And with that, we're to say, well, some of you go, well, Jamie, I don't understand my business, how I can give something away for free. In some cases, what you'll do, you will, and I'll give you an example in a moment, you will create a new product at the front end that doesn't cost you anything or little, and you can give away for free. Some of you will give your existing product away for free. I'm going to give you like 50 examples of companies that are hugely successful by doing this. Okay, and that will start to trigger what's possible. And you'll give your existing product. You say, how do I make money if I give my product away for free? Well, who would like to know if you give your product away for free, how you can make money? Well, we're going to look at that as well. Or you're going to do other things around that, okay, that can grow. Because some of you don't realize this, whether you know, it depends what industry you're in, but some of you are in an industry that will end up being free in the near future. Okay, and I'll give you some examples of that. So if you don't adjust and get ahead of the trend, then you will be left behind. You will be like shrinking. Like it's like Telstra going, you know, just freaking out. Less and less people are connecting landlines. Like young generation Y and X, how many of them have a home phone number? Hardly any. I mean, who does? Raise your hand if you don't have a home phone number in here. Okay, look, everyone under 30. 35, sorry. So I don't have a home phone number. Okay? So the point is, that's a diminishing business. So if Telstra just sat there and going, well, we make so much money out of landlines and that's where it's been, you know, we've made so much money for so long. Why do we need to change? Like what Simon was talking about, the aging business. Telstra's landline business is a typical aging business. So if they don't innovate and change and get ahead of the new trends, then that's a declining asset. But they know that's declining, so they're going to milk it as much as they can. Okay, just like the oil companies, why the asset's still there, and as it declines, they're already going to compete and innovate in new areas. Okay, now Telstra's a company that could, with better innovation, better leadership, could be much more successful company, and the stock price would rise. Okay, but because they're infighting, part government owned, they don't like each other. That culture is toxic and holds it back. Okay, and they're a big, lazy organization. When you already, imagine you've got a company making a lot of money, you tend to get a little bit complacent. Just like Microsoft. Did you see when Simon was talking about aging? That's Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft, if they don't get their act together, and, you know, it's still a highly profitable business. It's easy to be complacent when you're making billions of dollars a year. Okay, but if they don't continue, and they've tried to through acquisitions. They tried to buy Google. They tried to buy Facebook. They tried to buy YouTube. But these companies get big enough and go, we don't want to be owned by Microsoft. Or the government doesn't allow Microsoft to buy too much because they're too big. They're seen as a monopoly. Making sense? However, their monopoly could soon disappear. Monopoly of computers could, because Apple's wrong-footed them. Okay? Because Apple asked an important question, remember, some years ago. They didn't try and realize Microsoft was number one. Apple was never going to knock off Microsoft, true? So if you can't win a battle, why keep fighting with your so-called competitors if you're not going to win the battle? Because that's scarcity thinking. Ask a better question. The question that Apple asked was, jot this down again, what business are we really in? And by asking that question, they go, are we really in just the computing business, or what are we really in? And they decided they're not in the computing business. They're in a bigger business of creating cool products that add value to society. Therefore, that expanded their possibilities. And that's where the new product innovation come from. The iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, all out of asking a better question. Imagine if someone didn't ask that question, how different the world would be today. Apple wouldn't be where it is, one of the most successful companies on the planet. So when they asked a better question, instead of fighting with their competitors, ironically, they expanded what they do, and inadvertently with the iPhone market, they will end up controlling the computer market, most likely. Okay? And Google as well. Google asked a better question, and Google's now into that market because they see the trend coming. So they didn't try and fight. They went in a different direction, expanded, and out of that, becoming more successful. Making sense? Okay? So what we got to say, what does that got to do, Jamie? I don't think I ever can build an Apple. You don't need to build an Apple. Okay? But if you can be 1% as successful as Apple, who would be happy with the result? Okay? That's what you got to be looking at. Continually entrepreneurial, out thinking, and that's a different way of thinking and what's possible. Okay? Just like I asked the question many years ago, what business I am in as far as education. I'm not in the seminar industry. I don't see seminar speakers as competitors to me. And we'll talk about today co-opetition as opposed to competition. By asking who are my competitors? My competitors are financial planners. All I have to do is focus on providing a better value proposition to society than financial planners and highlight their weaknesses. And out of that, you can slice a slice of the market off. Small slice, $50 million in turnover. Small slice of that market, which is billions of dollars. But that's a much bigger market. Makes sense? So as an educator, then I go, what business am I in? Who am I? Jot this question down. Who are my competitors? This is the question you should be asking yourself. You want to know who your competitors are, or then you go, well, are they really my competitors? Who are my competitors? So for me, by asking that question, I go, who are my competitors? Aha, school and university are my competition. Great, because they're not much competition. So all I have to do is create a better value proposition to the world, not just to Australia or New Zealand, but to the world, and sell that message. And how big is that industry? You know, in Australia, university education is our second largest export earner, larger than agriculture, and only second to the mining industry, commodities. $18 billion a year. Okay? So we're talking worldwide. Education is a massive industry. You could build $1 billion company in that and just be a drop in the ocean. Who's following what I'm saying here? It all comes by asking a better question. So some of you are going, Jamie, shit, I'm confused now. I thought I was in I come here, I knew what business I was in. Now I have no idea what I'm in. Okay? But that's good. You want to break through and see. Remember, what I get excited about being an entrepreneur is that you're just a breakthrough away from, boom, your business taking off like that, just by thinking differently. Okay? So, and that's why you just got to develop that creativity and go, start thinking, what business am I really in? Who are my real competitors? Where am I heading? Or what other opportunities are there out there? You want to look at trends. One trend that we noticed was happening, and this was a trend for our property company, we noticed, and this was for 2 years, I was getting pressure from some of my team going, Jamie, you should do something about property in the US. There's a market there, etc. I'm going, yeah, I'm not, I don't believe yet, just not ready, right time, but I kept considering it. And then we saw such a rapid demand for people, Australians in particular, wanting to invest in the US. So we went and done our research, spent the last 9, 12 months doing our research, putting partners together, etc. And that's something now that's mainstream. I mean, how many people read articles about Australians buying US property? That's getting ahead of trend and say, okay, well, if we're going to own that market, we need to have a scalable model. Because a lot of players out there, one-man bands that, people buying US property over the internet, etc., not done correctly. You'll hear the disaster stories that will come out of that. But, there's no one of size yet that can go and say, how do you handle thousands of clients that want to buy property from Australia to the US and do that in a scalable way? That takes a lot of money, time and resources, and a lot of very good partners. Okay? But if you get it right, that's a massive company. You're talking like a company can go $100, $200, $300, $400 million in a short period of time. However, that's the sort of company that you would set up to sell. Why? Because it's a short-term trend. We're talking maybe 12, 18, 36 months. Build it and you probably sell it off. Make sense? Okay? But what you're doing is you're recognizing a trend. So how do you recognize a trend? Like if I was going to teach you how to be a stock investor, one of the things I'd say is go and look at the products you're buying. Because that tells you a trend, right? For instance, my colleague I was talking about, I caught up with and met in New Zealand a couple of days ago. I was thinking like that was such a simple idea. Where he went and picked up the phone, this was his new business, got the yellow pages out in New Zealand, phoned all the companies that had full page ads. He knew they paid $50,000 a year to have a full page ad in Auckland yellow pages. He picked up the phone and phoned them and said, how would you like to move to Google? $50,000, but we'll get you more exposure. Does Google have credibility, yes or no? Now, he's not Google, but he's a broker effectively, broking them across to Google. Because Google should have been smart. I mean, out there had consultants doing this and charging more than what they do. But Google was happy making the money they were. So it didn't take too many clients to take off and go, this is working. He hired a heap of telemarketers and moved a heap of clients across and making a $47,000 margin. Who would like a margin like that on a product? Okay. But what he was doing, was he adding value? Yes or no? He was adding so much value, but he was able to take advantage of a trend because he recognized on Google it costs about 10%. And I know that to be true too. In some of my companies used to spend 100 grand a month years ago in newspaper ads, right? 100 grand a month. We moved to Google and we got more exposure with Google ads and we couldn't even spend $10,000 a month. We couldn't spend 100 grand if we wanted to. So there was recognizing a shift, but I was just focused on my companies. I wasn't focused on going, if I wanted to, and focus, okay, there's a trend here. How many other companies aren't up with the trend that don't know they can shift to Google? Because what you could have done was go out to other companies in your own industry or in any industry and go, look, if you're spending, say, 100 grand a year on newspaper ads or whatever, for 50 grand a year, can move you across to Google and get you more exposure. Even do a guarantee, risk reversal, guarantee you more exposure, more leads, half price. That's what I'm saying here. And that's how businesses are built rapidly. And then he sold that business off for millions of dollars. Repeat after me. Something to think about. You say, well, do you live in the scarcity model or the abundance model? Because remember, it's like Damien Hirst, the artist. If he looked through the world, because when he was starting off had no money, and going, people, I just need money, I'm going to charge $1,000 for a piece of art. That's what people do. They set their price too low because they see scarcity. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's what the market demands. Does it make sense? There is a market out there. You either meet that market demand or you don't. Okay? So you have to adjust to that. Now what happens is, or you become an Apple and you get even to that next level up and go, the market doesn't even realize what they want yet. We're going to create a product and we're going to educate them why they want it, the iPad. Make sense? There was no market. They created the market for that. But now, that's a huge growing market. And they once again will wrong foot Microsoft and they will steal the PC market because people will move to iPads to a large degree. And they'll take a slice off that. Once again, just by thinking differently. Okay? Making sense. So here's what I want to go through very quickly. Some of you may have seen, who's been to a 4-day event? A few of you. Some of you may have seen this. I'll go through this quickly because it applies to business. It's critical to each and every one of you in this room. It's how about to go creating a millionaire lifestyle in the next 12 months without needing to become a millionaire. Who would like to know how to do that? Okay, it's critical, applies to you in business or not in business, because a lot of the lifestyle you can set up is you don't have to wait till you're making millions of dollars. If you're not a millionaire yet, it's all about getting your lifestyle right and freeing your time up so you can focus on additional forms of income. Not just one company. You might want to say, I want to build several companies. True? Who would like to build more than one company? So you build multiple things. It gives you more creativity. So, Jamie, I'd love to, but I'm too goddamn busy working in one. That's part of the problem. So if you're going to become an entrepreneur, Simon would have talked about this, but it's not your job as the leader of your company to be doing everything in the company. In the beginning, you may have to. But you want to work your way out as quickly as possible. Your job as the CEO or the owner and founder of the company is to have the vision, the strategy, to create it, put a team together, train them, delegate, and have them run it. So you're free to build another company, or you're free to do what Steve Jobs does. Say, how do we innovate and create a whole new division? iTunes Store. How do we innovate and create that? And Apple's not the little computer company it was now. It's a massive company because he's freed up and he focuses on that. Making sense? But if you're too busy working in your business, opportunity's going to go by. You're not going to be seeing the trends. You're not going to go to the US and do research. You're not going to be checking out what's happening, and you're going to miss those. You're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneurial manager. It's the same thing you're going to be doing. If you work for a company, you'll be bringing these ideas to the company and taking a slice of the action for creating new divisions. Okay? How many people in Apple and Microsoft and Google have become millionaires, some billionaires, by working for the company? So there's a lot of money involved and a lot of opportunity if you're a thinker. And what's great is most people don't think. So if you know how to think and come up with ideas and innovate and break through, that commodity is worth so much money in the marketplace. You can name your own price. You can name your own price. I don't care whether you ever go into business or not, by what you're learning this weekend, if you take that into companies, you will be a much more valuable employee. If you're used to earning 80, 90, 100 grand a year, you can take this knowledge and go and start going for jobs $150, $200, $250,000 a year. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, or you go and start your own business with it. Jot this down. What I'm talking about is time rich. Write this down, because for an entrepreneur, this is everything. If you want to build a business in a way that you have lifestyle, if you just want to become a workaholic, do not listen to what I'm about to cover. Okay, there's many people in this country that can teach you how to become a multimillionaire through business. Very few of them can teach you how to do it with having a balanced life and how to build more than one company at once. Okay. So I've had to build over a dozen companies, and I have charity projects, I have farming projects, I'm an investor as well, and I do that, and I still have a life, okay? I still get to travel, I still have balance, I'm not working all the time, okay? Now, it's not perfect, but most people go, well, I can't even manage one company. How can you do that? Well, there's a different way you go about doing things, and I did it from the beginning. One of my first mentors, millionaire mentor, I worked for as an entrepreneurial manager in Sydney. He was an example in some areas of what to do, and he was a warning of what not to do. And the reason I redesigned my businesses when I started in this way is because he was a workaholic. And even though he had a dozen companies or 15 companies, he was, and obviously did it because he wanted to, but he was locked in his business. His business revolved around him. So they weren't really saleable, a lot of them, and because it was revolved around him. So he didn't have the life where he could travel a lot as much as I could, because he was out. I'm going, you know what? I don't mind building businesses, but I want to build them in a systemized way, automated way that I can step out of. I can sell them if I want, or they run ideally without me. And I'll only go into the business when I want to. Or I'll focus my time on what I do in my career. I focus a lot of time on being an educator. But I only speak probably 40, 45 days a year, because that's more my passion. Okay? But I still have the time to do other things, and also have the time, if a new opportunity comes up, I can build a new company. I can take advantage of another trend. Why? Because I enjoy it, but it's also, as an investor, building companies is a very profitable thing to do. Does it make sense? Once you have these skill set, my friend, in the last 2 years, built the online deal site website, just modeling off Groupon, $50 million company. Okay? That's not bad for 2 years' work. Okay, and he doesn't own all of it now. He sold some of the shares off, but let's say half that is $20-odd million. Okay, and he's done it once before. He's just replicating it. He did it once before with a 19-year-old 21st century member sitting in the front row of my seminar. Young couple, learned a lot of this stuff, built an internet business, joined forces, sold it off to a publicly listed company some years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and made $10 million in shares. Those $10 million in shares he got for selling his company went to $25, $26 million worth at the height of the market. Okay? Making sense? Another 21st century member, you can apply some of these things when I go through today after lunch. Applying what we call the billionaire strategy. Did it on a small scale using an internet business, and within 12 months sold it off for $250,000. So not millions of dollars, but who here would like extra $250,000 in a year? We start, Lou's going to teach you more about internet marketing, etc. But if you start building some businesses that get even minor scalability, we're not talking hugely profitable businesses that you can sell off or keep part of and make money. That's the future. Okay? That's what I get excited about, what you can potentially do. Time rich, here's what you got to do. Jot this down. 80-20. We talked about yesterday, 80% is mindset, 20% is mechanics. There's also another 80-20. It's called the what? The Pareto principle. Jot that down. If you're not familiar with the Pareto principle, it already affects your life. Pareto was an Italian economist. He didn't invent this observation, but he made it famous by writing about it. It's not a law, it's more of an observation. The observation is this: 20% of your time that you spend is producing 80% of your results. Make sense? 20% of the time you do is productive, producing 80% of your results in your company, whether you work for your company or your own company. Therefore, the flip side of that, though, is you're spending 80% of your time that's producing only 20% of the results. And that's a problem. So by understanding this observation, you can go out next week and look at your life and go, hang on, that's probably true. what is my time that's really productive? Where am I spending that 20% that's getting me 100 or getting me the 80% of results? And focus on, obviously, on that 20%. The 80% that you're spending only getting a 20% result, which especially perfectionists do. We talk about perfectionism. What perfectionists do is they're not happy if you're getting 20% of your time is getting 80% of your results. Perfectionists aren't happy with that. They want it perfect. They want the result perfect. They want it before they start, or they want it to be this good, etc. So what they will do is spend the next 80% of their time, let's say 20% is 1 day a week of their work week, has got 80% of the results. They'll spend another 4 days of their week to try and get this 80% up to 100%. Make sense? Jot this down. That is the law of what? The law of diminishing returns. You must understand that. It's critical for business, it's critical for time, because your 24 hours in your day is your resource to make you rich. You must have people at work if you're not going to be an investor. So if you spend, a perfectionist is wants to be perfect. They want everything to be perfect. They spend all that extra time, but it's wasting their time because it doesn't make sense, does it? If 20% of your time is getting 80% of the result, what you should be doing is going then on starting another project and spending another 20% productive time on another project, whether it's outside another company or another division within your company, and getting 80% of the result. You've now doubled your income. Then what you should do is spend another 20% of your time and produce another 80% of the result in another project. You've now tripled your income, 300%. Making sense? Go and spend another 20% and get another 80% result. Who's following what I'm talking about here? That's what you should be doing as an entrepreneur. That's what I've done. That's what Richard Branson does. He doesn't stay here in Virgin Records trying to get the 100% result. Why? Because he knows there is no perfect business. Stop expecting a business to be perfect. There is no perfect human being. See, the challenge that we have as consumers of a business, we're a client of a business, and we expect the business to be perfect. And they do something wrong, we bitch and moan about it. Is that true? Then we go back to our own businesses. Our own business is perfect, yes or no? Absolutely not. You know, our own businesses don't always deliver customer service. They don't always deliver on the promise the way they should. Because why? Businesses are imperfect. You're not going to get it right all the time. You're not going to have the right people all the time. You might have the right intent, but there might be someone in your organization that doesn't, or someone in the organization that's lazy, or someone that is overwhelmed or doesn't get back to a client, and they create a bad name or don't do a proper job. Making sense? You know, can Richard Branson control 50,000 employees and make sure they treat Bruce the way that Richard would like them to treat Bruce? He can't control that, can he? He can have culture and a system and attract the right people that the Virgin staff are most likely to treat Bruce in a lovely, friendly, caring way that Bruce wants to remain a client of all the Virgin companies ongoing. Make sense? But he hasn't had control over that. Even over 20 people, 5 people, 1 person. So businesses will be imperfect by their nature because businesses generally require who? People. And people are imperfect. Making sense? So what you should go in when we look at other companies and we're working, you know, we're a client of a company and it's not perfect, you know, sometimes you're like, yeah, I wish they get their act together, but then you think, you know what? That's just life. We have a higher expectation for when we're a client of a customer than often we do when we're our own business. Making sense? So what I'm saying, you want to raise your standards, you want to have your business as best it can be, but it's not going to be perfect. We live in a perfect world. They accept that. Now, perfectionists hate that. And they'll go and spend all this time, this 80%, trying to get it perfect. It's a law of diminishing return. It's not productive use of their time. When they could be building other divisions or other projects and progressing their company in a productive way. That's what we want to focus on. That's what's critical as an entrepreneur. It's the same, the Pareto principle works this way. Also, if you look at your wardrobe, 20% of your wardrobe, I bet you wear 80% of the time. The other 80% of it just sits there, gets worn 20% of the time. Your friends, go through your friends list. 20% of your friends you'll spend 80% of the time with. The other 80%, 20% of the time. True? You look at any company in this room, you can go through it and say, I bet you 20% of your salespeople produce 80% of your profit. Okay? 80% of them produce 20%. The top salespeople also. Customers, look at your database. And this is why segmenting is so critical with price, etc. 20% of your clients are probably producing 80% of your profit. The other 80% of your clients are probably only producing 20% of the profit. One of the reasons why you want to grade your clients and focus on the clients that really love what you do, have the money, want to do more, and look after them. Where most companies don't understand that, they don't segment, and they're wasting all this time on C and D clients to make a little bit of profit and ignoring their most valuable clients. How often do businesses do that? Who's been guilty of that in business? We all have. Instead of ignoring the valuable ones and giving them what they want and growing the business with those and going, let's just target that type of demographic, that type of client, because they're the clients that want our product, they're the client that can afford the product, they whinge less, the A and B clients. Let's expand that. So just by applying this observation, this principle to your life, to your business, you can look at it and go, I need to make some shifts. I need to focus on what's most productive. I need to identify what that is. And you'll identify that because the first step to creating change starts with A. First step to creating change is what? Jot it down, awareness. The first step to creating change in anything in your life, whether it's your business, your career, anything, is awareness. What do I mean by that? Well, think about it. If you now become aware the next week you're wasting a lot of time on unproductive things, but over here you're doing some stuff that's really productive, you go, hang on, I'm aware now, I'm just going to now focus on what's more productive. And awareness creates change. Often, that's all you need. In other cases, sometimes people are aware things aren't working, but they keep on doing what's not working. Make sense? Let's say someone is aware that smoking kills them, but they continue to smoke. Is that intelligent, yes or no? No, it's bloody stupid. But intelligent people do stupid things at times. Is it true? Who's willing to admit that? Okay. Do stupid things at times. Why? Because they're linking pain to stop smoking and pleasure to smoking. So why ever they link that, they're not going to change. So the habits of that, I'm not going into how to change that now, but the habits of that. So it's same in business. If you're linking pain to the things that you really need to do, you need to reframe, relook at what you're looking at, because if it's pain, you won't do it. That's why you want to that's why you want to be in a business that you're passionate about, because you link pleasure to it. You're excited. I don't have to wake up in the morning and go, oh shit, another day, another dollar. I don't have to do that. You think Richard Branson wakes up, so like, shit. Another day, another dollar. Donald Trump, is he waking up? Another day, another dollar. Oprah Winfrey, another day, another. They're not like that, are they? They're excited. They have projects on the go. They're excited about what's the next. There's always something bigger and better they're looking forward to. They have what's called a compelling future. They're passionate. Doesn't mean they don't have challenges. They have challenges, but they're quality challenges. They're like excited about what they're doing. They're not stagnant, because you can have success in something, which some of you have had in a business, but then you've got that and you plateaued off. You got bored, got complacent, stopped growing. True? When what you should be doing is going, okay, well, have fun, celebrate, but then go for the next level. What's the next big thing? Why settle for less? And someone will say, well, I've already got enough money. Well, that's the problem. It was never about money in the first place. If you build a business for the right reasons, you want to add value, you want to achieve something, you want to make a difference. It's not about money. So when you make heaps of money, you keep on going. Donald Trump, does he quit building buildings? Yes or no? No. Because for him, that's his identity. That's what he's proud of, doing deals and putting that on there. Richard Branson, does he keep on building companies? Yes or no? Why? Because it's fun. He enjoys business. Why not? But also he'll spear more of that into the areas that he wants. It makes it more productive or makes a difference. He'll move more, as a lot of wealthy entrepreneurs do, they'll move more into charity or more into saying, how can they use their resources to create positive change in the world? Because why? Billionaires on the planet tend to have more ability to do that than our politicians, okay? Because billionaires generally have to take action, not just talk about it. True? And they have resources. What's great about what Bill Gates is doing and Warren Buffett is they're getting all the billionaires in the world and to pledge a large percentage of their wealth to a fund. I mean, Warren Buffett's already pledged most of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, because he believes in what Bill's doing. And whether you love or hate Bill, at least he's doing a lot of areas that he's devoting a lot of time and money to make for the greater good. Okay? And these people are focused on that. And that gives you the position of power. It's great having money because you can help a lot of people out. It's amazing how money can, people say money doesn't make people happy. Bullshit. Trust me, I've given money to people or to charities or to causes that makes them very happy. Okay? Makes them very happy. So money can make a lot of difference. I mean, give a taxi driver a $10 tip will make his day. How simple is for $10 you make someone happy? Is that cool? Good return on money? Okay? Just simple things. So being in that position because you're not so consumed. You don't want to be so consumed. You're working, even if you love what you do, you still want to work your way out of it. You work in it when you choose to, not because you have to, because you don't want to miss the next big thing. Or you want your life to be free. It should be a spiritual adventure. So you can still be open and travel and do things and meet different people. So you continue to grow. And that's where ideas come from. Okay, I always find when I get introduced in peer group and you meet interesting different people, I love talking to other entrepreneurs because you bounce ideas off each other and boom, another idea, let's make it happen. And it's great working with a bunch of people that know how to action things because they just make things happen. They're not like, yeah, one day get around to it, okay? Is it making sense? So here's what we've got to do. Step number 1, 4-step system. Jot this down quickly because you must do this in your business. Otherwise, you're not going to have the time to do what you want to do. Step number 1 is you've got to eliminate. So in your business or in your company you work for, you need to eliminate using the 80-20 principle. Eliminate a lot of unproductive time or unproductive processes that are just wasting your time. So the 80-20 principle, you go and look at what you do during the week, you look at what the company's doing, and you'll focus on the 20% that will get you 80% of the results and start eliminating a lot of the unnecessary tasks or the work that's not getting you much of a result. Now, elimination is critical. You'll do it through awareness, but it's critical. If you want to free up your time to have a better quality of life, free up your time to start new projects or to do investing in the things that you want to do, you need to eliminate some crap out of your life. Most people's life fills up with activities. They say they have the week, and because they're not clearly focused, defined, and compelling future to look forward to, it'll just fill up. But have you ever noticed this? Who's ever noticed the week before you go on a holiday? Who's ever noticed how productive you become? Who's ever had that? The week before. Because why? You change what you focus time on. You distort time. You go, okay, I got a leaving Friday for the Bahamas or Hawaii or Tahiti, wherever your holiday is. So now instead of focusing on the pain of work, you'll focus on the pleasure of the result of where you're heading. Make sense? So you're excited. You also know you only got 4 or 5 days and you have to get the stuff done because you're just going anyhow. So now I can only focus on the most important things, the most productive things. And also you squeeze so much more into a short period of time because you only have an allocated period of time to do it in. And as a result of that, you achieve more and you're motivated more. Make sense? Why not then set your life up that you have regular holidays so you're more productive? Make sense? That's what you do. That's what I did before I became a millionaire 15 years ago. And you don't need a lot of money to do this. The industrialization method, the 19th century, okay? Work 40 hours, 50 hours a week, 9 to 5, have 2 days off and 2 weeks or 4 weeks a year off. That is outdated. Why are you signed up for that? Did anyone say, is there a law in Australia that says you must work those hours, 9 to 5? Is it just coincidentally everyone's most productive at 9 to 5? No freaking way. Who's here better at working early in the morning? Who likes working early in the morning? Who likes working late at night? Who doesn't like working at all? So it makes sense? It's like what I'm saying. Do not sign up. Do not do what everyone else does unless you want the same result. Do something the opposite. Most people take mini breaks, regular holidays. No, that's why I did it, because my mentor said do the opposite to most people. So what I would do is, and also it's a better way to enjoy life. You know how many places I've been to? One of my good friends is that he tracks how many countries he's been to. And I went to Venezuela with him about a month ago. That was his 126th country. 207 countries on the planet, I think, 216 or something like that. And so his goal is eventually to go to every single country. Now, I don't know how many I've been to. I haven't tracked them and start tracking it, but it's probably 70, 80 odd countries. Okay? But it's good just to have that 100-point checklist that you're going to tick off, 100 things to do before you die. You can keep on, you want to go to different places. But if you're running all the business, you need to still have that schedule into your life. Why? It's a compelling future. Like Richard Branson, he knows what he's doing well out in advance. Like we're talking to him at the moment to have him come speak for us in October this year. Okay, the window is he's in New Zealand, October 22nd, the morning. If we want him, we have to fly him to Melbourne Saturday night, and then we have to fly him back Sunday morning because the World Cup rugby's on. Make sense? He already knows and schedule where he'll be that far out for that particular night. So his schedule is like full of so many things to look forward to. The point is, your schedule, is it full of so many things to look forward to, or just work? Okay? You must create a compelling future, things to look forward to. So then you're squeezing work in to a small time frame. Otherwise, work will consume your life, or doing nothing productive will consume your life. Urgency. A strong sense of urgency is critical because you only have a limited amount of time. Why? You're going to be dead one day. True? And you don't know when that day will come. So if you don't get off your backside and start making things happen, you're not going to achieve a fraction of the things you plan to do. True? Let's be honest about it. So, people that achieve on a high level, they know their time is everything. They know they don't have a lot of time. Richard Branson knows he's got to maximize his time. He wants to get the most out of life in that space of time you got. So every day you're just consuming. I don't want to waste a day of my life. The reason I don't drink much, I have a hangover and the next day is wasted. It's like, I like to drink and celebrate, but I'm not going to excess and have a hangover. Okay? Because why? I'm not going to waste a whole day of my life being hungover. That's just like, okay. So, what was that? Yeah. So the point is, you want to squeeze a lot in and have so many things to look forward to. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Okay, so scheduling that by eliminating that out and being more productive, and that's what I do. I get a lot more done in a short period of time because I'm focused. I'm not going to waste my time just working for the sake of working. Okay, that is pointless. Even if you're wealthy, you don't want to be wasting time. You still want to be focused, achieving a productive outcome, and then celebrating, enjoying life. Achieving more, celebrating, enjoying life. Because if we just party and have no direction or focus, okay, we'll eventually get bored of that. Okay, if we just work all the time, even if we love the work, we'll eventually get bored of it. You need variety, you need stimulus, you need both. You want to achieve, celebrate, and enjoy your life. Make sense? Who's happy to sign up for the idea of mini breaks and lots of holidays, okay? You can do that and get rich. You don't have to be a workaholic to get rich. That's an outdated model, and people that think that way are probably dinosaurs, okay? They're from the old school industrialization era, our grandparents' era. The only way to be successful, you have to work really hard. Jot this down, bullshit. Okay, it's bullshit. Now, there's nothing wrong with work ethic. Have a good work ethic. Reason I become a millionaire at a young age because I grew up on a farm. I knew how to work. Okay? I didn't have it wrapped up in cotton wool like a lot of townies. Okay? Make sense? So I had the strong work ethic, but I'm not saying work because it's your passion. Don't just work hard, go and think, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to get rich. How many people do you know work hard and are not rich? Make sense? Work hard doesn't guarantee you're rich. Getting the result. I'll take a couple of questions in a moment. Yep. Make sense? So number 2. Now here's critical in business as you're going to go and eliminate a lot of wastage in your company. Number 2, you must eliminate first, right? Because number 2, what you're going to do is, jot this down, you're going to delegate. You're going to delegate then. Now, delegate comes after eliminate, because if you do not eliminate wasted time that's not very productive and go, okay, I'm going to delegate all this wasted activity to someone else to do stuff that's not productive. That doesn't achieve anything. You eliminate first. I used the example yesterday. One of my managers from some years ago come into the company and running the accounts department. Because he was unproductive, wasting a lot of time, wasn't efficient, couldn't be organized. He just kept saying, well, we only have 6 staff in accounts, we need more staff. So, okay, well, you need more staff, we'll put more staff on. And every time they come back, I need more staff, we're so busy. Things were growing, but need more staff. Eventually got to a point he had 22 staff in accounts department. And then, I don't know, and the size of the company wasn't warranting that. And he come back and asked for more staff. And I said, forget it. Your solution is you need more staff because you're so busy. I said, you're so busy because you're inefficient. I guarantee you I could run an accounts department with 6 to 8 staff. And he was fired. And guess what happened? It took about 6-9 months, brought new people in. That accounts department went from 22, 24 people down to 6 to 8. Make sense? The difference was you need to eliminate first wasted, unproductive systems, then delegate. If you don't, and you just delegate, you will end up, most people will, they'll get busy because they're busy Some people are busy for a reason because they're productive. Other people are busy because they're disorganized. Chaos, can't organize themselves. So as a result, they will, as managers, they're not people that you want. Because they're disorganized, they'll recruit disorganized people, or they'll disorganize what were effective people because they just can't manage their time. And it'll expand, the work will expand. It's all about efficiency, it's all about systems. The future of the world is companies like Facebook and Google, these internet-based companies that turn over billions of dollars but have a small number of staff. They might have 10, 15% of the staff numbers of an industrialization type company. Look at GM Motors, how much heavy reliant they are on staff versus a Facebook. What company would you rather own, GM or Facebook? It's obvious, isn't it? Facebook might have, I don't know how many staff they've got now, let's say they have 1,500 staff. Companies of that now, they're doing over $1 billion in sales already. Companies of that size would generally have 5 to 10 times as many staff. But because the model's changed, low staff numbers. I know myself, future businesses, I'm going for low-cost models. I'm no longer interested in having heaps of staff. It's just not cost-productive because you've got so much capital. Even look at companies like Macquarie. They measure, which is, companies need to do this, is they know the profit each staff member makes. So they had, let's say they got 15,000 staff in the Macquarie Group. They divide that by their profits and they know each staff is generating X revenue of profit. And that's compared to the industry standard of the other banks. And Macquarie is about half or a third of US banks as far as productivity. Making sense? Why? Because Australian labour costs are very high in comparison, where US, etc., you don't have to pay as much as no minimum, so they have different pay structures. But Australia is an expensive place to do business in. Payroll tax and all that bullshit. So, you got to change that. So you want a low-cost model. And what a lot of the governments don't realise, state governments will teach them a lesson, is that why employ Australians when you just globalise and outsource most things? And that's what's happening. Okay? You'll employ Australians for managing. The people who'll do the work will mainly be overseas. That's the future of business. Okay? And that's why, because competitive, it's cost competitive. Companies need competitive advantages. If they can lower their costs or use technology and efficient systems, you need less staff. Okay? And that's what's happening. So delegate is critical. You have to be a good delegator. So the point is, let's say you get productive and you discover you can do most of your work in 1 day a week, not 5 days a week. You're wasting the rest of the time. You have less work to do. But let's say you can't do it in 1 day a week. You can only get it down to 3 days a week. You become more productive. You're freed up 2 days a week. You either don't work or you go and do those 2 days a week in another project. Then you say, what if I can delegate? What if I can delegate some of this work to someone else? Now, even if you say, well, Jamie, it's all right if you've got lots of money. I'm a one-man band, or I've only got a small amount of people. I can't afford to employ more people to delegate work to. Okay? But you can't afford not to. Can you hire, jot this down, virtual assistants? How much will a virtual assistant cost you? About $5, $6 an hour. So you could be in here. Now, this doesn't just apply to those who own a business. You could be working in a company right now, same thing. If you're earning just $50,000 a year, how much an hour is that? It's about $25 an hour. If you're working in a company, $25 an hour, you start to become more productive. You can get your work done in 3 days a week, say, instead of 5 days a week, because you just focus on the Pareto principle. Then you go, how can I delegate? Because I don't want to be working all the time. I don't want to be stuck behind a desk. How can I delegate some of this 3 days work? What if I could delegate 2 of those days? Because is there people overseas that have a better work ethic than Australians? Yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. Australians aren't renowned as immigrants, are 4 times more likely to become self-made millionaires in Australia, and that's one of the biggest reasons they have a work ethic. Not critical of most Australians, but a lot of Australians don't have the same work ethic as those that migrate here. When I'm employing people, I prefer to employ immigrants. Why? Because they tend to be what we call upwardly mobile. They want to go places. They want to move up the class ladder. They want to become wealthier. They work hard. They're focused. They'll tend to outperform. Make sense? Okay? So, and that's why a lot of countries that have grown, there's no successful economies that allowed a lot of immigrants into their country. Effectively all immigrants originally, So, but you come here and our first generations come. Look at I'm Anglo-Saxon, 5th generation. My generation of my grandparents, my dad and my grandparents, great-grandparents, they worked a hell of a lot harder than our generation does, okay? And they built the wealth of the country. So the younger generations get a little bit easier, But often that can lead to laziness or taking things for granted, which happens in this country. So the point is, you delegate, say, 2 days of that work. It might cost you $6 an hour. So am I saying take advantage of slave labor overseas? Yes or no? Absolutely. You should be. If you're not, you're crazy. Now, is it really slave labor? You know, in Australia, you pay someone $6 an hour, you'll go to jail for slave labor. Overseas, there's people for $6, $8, $10 an hour. That would be a middle-class income. They'd go from being unemployed to having a middle-class income. They would think you're the greatest person on the planet. Thank you very much. They have a future. True? So you not only can contribute, but that's it. And they would probably outwork most Australians in a lot of areas, from accounts to web design, graphic design, SEO, telemarketing in some cases, admin, can often outperform and often better skilled, okay? Because if you bring those same people to Australia, then you have to pay them the Australian rates, and it loses a lot of productivity, but overseas you can do that. My point is, whether it's a virtual assistant or outsourcing a lot of things, is that you can cut your costs down, but you're freeing up a lot of your time. Why do it yourself? Who already outsources to globalization? Who already outsources overseas? Okay, a couple of people, okay? My point is, now I don't care whether you're an employee or not. If you're an employee, you do the same thing. You're freeing up your time. You say, well, Jamie, if I get all my work done in 3 days a week, I still have to show up at the office for Thursday, Friday. If I delegate and get that done in 2 days, I've only got 1 day a week that I'm actually working. Let's say it takes me a couple of hours a day to get my work done. I still have to show up at the office. Well, that's because you've got an outdated industrialization contract. Change your agreement to be on contract or negotiate so you don't have to always work from your desk. True? Can you do that? Who here already works on contract? Okay. A few people. You can change what you do to work on contract. Now, you mightn't be able to change it straight away. You might have to negotiate and say, I will work, here's what I'm going to take a couple of weeks off, or I don't want to take, I have for family commitments, I don't want to take the weeks off, I want to continue working because we're working on an important project. I will work from home for the next 2 weeks, if I can do that, and I promise I'll get all this work done. For those 2 weeks you have off, you're working from home, you get twice as much work done, so you can go back to your employer and say, what's amazing by working at home, I don't have to travel, I save, hour and a half, 2 hours a day travel. I don't have to be caught up in interruptions of office politics, and I'm just peace and quiet and get a lot more work done. I've actually got so much more work done. Here's the evidence of it. Can in future I work 1 day a week from home? Make sense? And then you renegotiate. As that proves that point, can I work 2 days a week from home? Eventually you get to a point where you don't have to be at the office except for meetings, maybe once or twice a month. Because these days, there's a lot of people who can work from home, yes or no? I have staff in my organization that work from home. Now, some of them, it's fine because I know they can deliver and they can work unsupervised. Others, not a hope in hell they'd ever be able to work from home. They need to be supervised. So it depends who you are and how much value you're adding, how well you can proposition what you're offering. Making sense? But then you free yourself up. You don't have to be at the office as much, so you've got spare time and you're delegating a lot of the work for yourself, and you're freed up. You're making more of a semi-passive income. You've got a better lifestyle. You can go investing, or you can start other projects on the side, or you can do more for your company and get pay rise and work on a performance contract because you've got more time to say, how can we make more profit in this company? Okay, or if it's your own business, that's what you should be doing. Making sense? So as a result of that, if you're working from home, does your employer come around to check that you're really working from home? Yes or no? You're paid on results. You just have to deliver the result. So you don't have to be working from home. You can be working from Tahiti, Fiji, Brazil, wherever you are with technology. See, the difference is this. I run 12 companies and I don't work. I might be in my head office, in my desk, 2 days a month. Make sense? There's other people that can't run one company without not being in the office 60, 70, 80 hours a week. What's the difference? Delegation and elimination. Delegation, elimination. And there's two other things. Would you like to know what they are? Jot these down very quickly because this is critical for what you're to do. Number 3 and number 4 go hand in hand. Number 3 is automation. And automation leads to systemization. Automation leads to systemization. So what you want to do to say, how do you eliminate some of your workload, is you automate your systems. My first business at 15, hand washing the turnips in the river, slow, not productive. I bought a whole factory production line of a turnip washer that automated the process. So I was able to increase my productivity in less time. That was a capital investment. Make sense? So these days, what you do, automation and systemization, is, let's say in customer service, like the internet has helped force this to happen. Internet has created, and this is what we talk about after lunch, is the new model of the business, of the world of business, and how you got new rules, but the internet has a big part of it. Because the internet is forced automation. You can now have a website, 24 hours a day, people can go to it, look, buy, shop, get customer service questions answered without any staff being there. True? Has that automated a lot of work? Through automation, you can have FAQs there, you can have videos there, you can have where people can buy online, all zero cost. A lot of business models now, people can buy online completely, and it's reshaped industries, which we're going to look at. It's reshaped the airline industry, reshaped the insurance industry, reshaped the stockbroking industry. Just some examples. Because by providing online, you don't have to have staff there to support it as much. You have lower costs, and you can deliver a product at lower cost. But you can deliver a lot more through automation. Let's say you're dealing with 1,000 customer service emails a week. And you're like, okay, I need to focus on the most productive ones. Well, could you simply go, let me think. Is it possible some of the questions one client asks is similar to most questions clients ask, the same question? So could you create an FAQ, yes or no? Frequently asked questions. Could you turn into an autoresponder so when all those emails come in, they get an autoresponder and say, thank you for your inquiry, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Here's a list of typical asked questions. Please check here, this answers your question. Boom. Instead of 1,000 people needing you to get back to them, let's say out of that 1,000 inquiries coming in via email, the FAQs answered 500 of those questions. So 500 has been dealt with automatically. And now you have only 500 left to deal with. Make sense? You've halved your workload. And then out of that, it might be, okay, then you point them in the right direction. If that hasn't answered your question, you might have a question relating to this. As an autoresponder, might be relating to this department. Please contact that person, okay? Or contact this person, or contact that person. So eliminate, or sends them in the direction of where they can get the information without having to talk to a person. Or sends them in a direction where someone can answer that question quickly. And then what you can do, what if your customer service team can be empowered, or you have managers that are empowered that they can make quick decisions. You look at a 5-star hotel and the difference between a 5-star hotel and a 2 or 3-star. Like if you walk into a 5-star hotel, before you get the reception desk, they will know your name. Because you'll hear them, especially in America, they have really good hotels. You'll hear them when they say they get your cars out, your bag out of the cars, and they'll ask your name, etc. They will send that through. They'll talk into the speakers, send that through to reception, or people opening the door and they'll go, "Hi, Mr. McIntyre, how are you?" Is that impressive? Because that's that extra level of customer service. They'll have that level degree because they're trained better in customer service. They'll create a better degree. They have better systems for that. Okay, where that would be trained and that system would be in place, that people are trained to do that, and it creates a better experience and they get a better outcome. More people stay there. Okay, so my point is FAQs, autoresponders, jot that down. That's one way to be much more effective as an example of automating what you do. Other people say, well, Jamie, you don't understand, in my business, people want to speak to me. Some of you are thinking that way. No, they only want to speak to you because you're the only one that is maybe competent at dealing with the problems. Or you don't value your time and you enable them to ring you to the phone. Okay? For me, I don't take phone calls. Jot that down. I do not take phone calls. Now, could that have something to do with the fact that enables me to have time to run 12 companies? If I took phone calls, imagine I've got, let's say 12 companies, I have different managers and I have business partners. Let's say there's 15, 20 critical people in my organizations that want to speak to me. If I just took phone calls just from my managers and my JV partners, even then, I'd be busy just talking to them. I get nothing done. So if I start a new company, take on new partners or new managers, I might speak to them in the beginning, but then I'll explain to them, I'm not available by phone. Email me. Because it doesn't matter where I am in the world, I can get back to them on email. And I train them, I'll get back to them. Also, why? Because they email me, they have to think about precisely what they want to do and what their questions are, and then I can forward it on to someone else to deal with. Making sense? In most cases, or I can quickly respond myself if it's relating to that. Or I can point them in a direction where they can get that and say, in future, if you need this information, speak to this person, or this is the answer, please keep it on file so you don't have to ask again. Making sense? because I value my time and I'm not going to spoon feed people, because if I do, I'm unproductive. So this will go through cycles. I've gone at times I deal, last year I dealt with on average 150 emails a day, 30 odd thousand for the year. Okay? But I can deal with that many emails in 2 hours a day. So it doesn't matter where I'm in the world. But then I say, that's too many emails. I want to start new projects. So I shrunk it right down. I cut it all out to less because I outsource and pass it on so they don't have to email me. Okay? So then I deal with that. But I'm saying I could deal with 150 emails in less time than I can deal with 5 phone calls. Because a lot of emails you don't have to respond to. It's just reading and checking. So you just see seeds so you know what's going on. You can check. A lot of them you don't even have to check. Others you for. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're dealing with busy people, can you get busy people on the phone easily? Yes or no? Less busy people can get them on the phone easily, yes or no? It's an indication of how wealthy someone is, generally how easy you can access them by the phone. True? Now, I have an open culture. I've learned off Richard Branson. You have an open culture. He has his email address available to every staff member in his organization, and where people can write to him or email him. That's fine, okay? Because I do the same. I even make my email available sometimes in my books. People can email me, okay? I don't mind getting that because it gets me feedback. I see what's going on, or I can forward it on. But it's like market research. But the point is, email you can deal with very easily. But phone, you're playing phone tag with busy people, and then back and forth. It's like wasting a day. Who's played phone tag before? How many times people get to the end of their life and go, what did you do for your life? Well, I played phone tag. Had a to-do list, didn't achieve much, but yeah, really. Life is too short for that. The only people I take, if they take a phone call, my mum even knows. Best to SMS me, I'll get back to her. That's what I'm saying? Now, the only people I manage I haven't met, I can teach this, is some of my brothers that run some of my farms, because they're the old school, want to speak to someone. So they know, they ring, a week later, I might get back to them. Okay? So they've learned if they want a response quicker, email me. Because it's quicker, because you can deal with an email quicker. My point is, what I'm trying to highlight is, if you don't block your time and free up your time, you're going to be busy, and not being an entrepreneur and being creative and focus on the bigger picture and growing what you're doing, what you should be doing. You're either an entrepreneur or you're an employee. Which one are you? That's what you have to say. Now, so well, Jamie, it's all right for you. If you're starting off a business, you have to be bloody everything. True. But even then, you can still be efficient from day one. The reality is some of you are highly efficient, some of you are bloody hopeless. True? And it's a system you just have to learn. You just have to be able to deal with a lot of things rapidly. I don't like detail. But in the beginning, building companies, I had to create the systems. I had to be so detailed. It hurt my brain. Okay? So these, I tell you, people ask me details, especially if you're starting a new company, it's okay, yes, it'll all work out. Go get the details. I'm not a detail person. I don't want to know. I do not want to know the detail. What I want to know is the what? Result. Here's what I want, and this is why I want. So when you're delegating, write this down. Here's what I want. You must clarify specifically the outcome, what you want. What is the end result you want? This is how you delegate. And I'm not saying this is easy. Delegation, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Most people struggle with delegation. So you must state why. What is the clear, precise outcome you want? And then you've got to say why you want it. Make sense? Because otherwise your delegation will turn into 10 times more work and you go, I might as well just do it myself, I can do it quicker. Who's felt like that before? Okay? Because you're not effectively delegating. Now, sometimes with technology, you can do it quicker. Sometimes I don't bother going through and I'll just email someone, I can just type it up myself, straight to the person, get it done. Okay? But I've developed ability to get things done really rapidly because just doing it over and over again. So, but when you're delegating, you must say clearly what it is that you want, what is the outcome and why you want it. What that enables the person to do is understand your request, because if you don't tell them why you want it and you're not clear about what you want, they can go and spend, and you might expect it takes, you delegating, that should take half an hour to someone to do, or an hour or 5 hours, whatever you expect it. If you don't tell it, and then you should add to that third point, how much time this should take. That's important. Because your value of time, you might be very efficient at time. Other people, if they're lower level employees, whatever, are generally less efficient. That's why they're lower level employees. If they're efficient, they'd be managers, or they're really efficient, they'd be running a company. Making sense? So the lower level income they are is generally the lower level efficiency they have in their life. Making sense? Not being, I'm just highlighting it, not in a derogatory way, just saying their level of value to society is low because they're disorganized. The more organized someone comes, what's the difference between a typical employee and a manager? A manager must be someone that can produce a what? Result. Therefore, they get paid more. They're able to action better, organize themselves better, and get a team to do something. Okay? A CEO of a company, they get paid more because they're more productive, they can take action, and they can lead people and delegate people to do things. Making sense? That's so the better organized you get, the more you work to the top. Okay? Or if an entrepreneur has the vision and the strategy, they will have someone close to them that will take care of the detail, like an EA or PA, etc. EAs in society are very important. A lot of EAs, especially women that tend to be very good in those roles, are often running the company. They pretty much run a CEO's life because they're the organized one. Often the CEO is like, just chaos and strategy, but they're the ones that take care of things. So those people, you've got to partner up. If you're a big picture person, you've got to partner up with someone that's detailed. Take care of your weaknesses. Because don't try and make yourself do all the detail if you're not a detailed person. If you're a detailed person and good at action and implementing things, you might want to partner up with someone that is a big picture. So you're balancing the skill set. So you're writing down how long this should take, because some people will take 5 hours to do something that should be done in 5 minutes. So if you're not clear about that, they'll go and waste time, because sometimes you go, well, if it's going to take too long, don't worry about it, it's not worth it. Also, what you've got to add in is the priority of it. If it's urgent, if it's really important, I want this done by, you must put that in there so it's all really clear. So this might be just in an email to whoever you're delegating to. This is what I need specifically. This is the outcome I need and why I need it. Because why is important, because if they don't understand why you need it, they may go and waste time and not realize. And it should only take you probably half an hour, but I need this done. It's okay. I'm just letting you know now I don't need it done to Friday. Or no, I need this done instantly. So what you need in an organization is a fast lane. In other words, there's normal work people are doing, but sometimes there's things that have to be priority and pushed through. Like on a road, you have an express lane. You need that in your organization. Otherwise, you want to push things through and people are like, oh, no, I'm busy. You need to give me 7 days notice. It's like, well, no, this is a fast lane priority thing. We need to push it through. Other things can wait. So priority of things will change, but you need to tell them that what's most important. If it's urgent, you need to be urgent. So a good person is someone that will get, someone that's effective and who paid a lot of money is someone that can get a result. You don't want someone coming back every 2 minutes, what, I can't do this, what about this, and coming for the solution all the time. It's like, no, I don't care about the details, I just want the result. Here's the result, why I want it, how long it should take, boom. So in the beginning though, you may have to train people to how to be better at getting results. And getting results, someone that's very good at getting results is someone that just doesn't take no as an answer. Now, a CEO or Richard Branson or top entrepreneurs, they don't take no as an answer. If they want something, guess what? They will get it. Like we're in a restaurant it was so funny. We're in a restaurant in Auckland a few days ago, and the couple I was talking about, the guy that, the Yellow Page business, he'd built that, and he was there at dinner. And I asked for a mojito. I like to drink mojitos occasionally. And the restaurant come back, in the nice restaurant, and they come back and said, we don't have, we can't make you a mojito, sir, because we don't have mint leaves. And it's like, how hard is it to go across to the next restaurant next door and buy some? So one of my friends, they said, that's fine, we'll just go across. And they went across, bought some mint leaves, brought back to them and said, now you can make a mojito. My point is that if someone's focused on getting a result, they will get the result. If Kerry Packer's having dinner when he was alive and someone said, well, sorry, sir, there's no whatever it is, would he accept that, yes or no? No, he had an anger problem, but he'd also say, if Kerry Packer wants it, Kerry Packer gets it. Do you know what I'm saying? In other words, sometimes you don't accept no as an answer because how hard is it to get something? And people say, sometimes you ask for a milkshake, they know, oh, we don't have soy milk. It's like, really, how fucking hard is it to go and get soy milk? That's not difficult. I don't say that, of course, okay? Sometimes I've offered, look, don't worry, I'll walk across, I'll go and buy some and bring it back to you. In other words, a good company or a good customer service is they will find, like a top hotel, you can ring them up and ask for anything. They'll go out and buy it and bring it back. That's a quality, because they don't, oh, sorry, we don't do that. Have you ever been told they don't do that? How does that piss you off? It's like, no, you can do it. It's not a matter of you can't do it, it's that you choose not to. And you don't want to deliver services to the level you want. That's what you're saying. I'm too lazy, couldn't be bothered, you're not really worth it. Piss off, basically. So what you want, you know. So, and people will pay. Will rich people pay to get a result? Yes or no? Okay, people want a result. That's what the most important. That's what they're after. So you have to be someone that delivers results, and you have to be able to train people around you. Deliver result. Do not take no as an answer. Can't be done. It can be done. Anything's possible. Just put the effort in. So what stops most people living their dreams is they just put enough effort in. Really, action takers, they get it done. They find a way to get it done. Around this, over this obstacle, they will get a result. And that's what, if you can deliver a result, you're worth a lot of money in society, because most people can't. And the people that can, the companies will pay a lot of money to. Whether you as an employee, manager, or as your company that you're supplying to. Make sense? Repeat after me. Something to think about. Quickly turn to the person next to you. Teach them. Time rich. Then I'll take a couple of questions and then we'll go for lunch. Okay, I'm just curious. Does anyone have any questions on what we've covered so far? Okay, we'll start here and then we'll just get on the microphone. That way the viewers at home can hear your question.
In regards to your delegation, I mean, obviously coming from a defence background, we're very big of saying this is the right result, go and achieve it. Within, outside that, is that sort of the way you work as well, or do you micromanage how to do it? So we sort of call it mission control, where this is the mission, this is the result, just go and do it, don't care how you do it. Do you take that same sort of mindset, or do you say, get this result by doing A, B, C, D?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It'd be a combination of both. If you're delegating to someone that's brand new, you're going to have to show them how to do it. So the more training you do in an organisation, the more efficient it will be. I find that we're a training organisation, a bit like, sometimes we don't train enough our people. We're training everyone else, but you need to train your people more. So in some cases, you might show A, B, C, D. It depends on the competency of the person. If you're delegating to a manager that's highly competent, you just say, just go and do it. I don't care how you do it. Just get the results, because you trust them. You know they're capable. They know how to think, what they're going to deliver. If it's maybe someone more junior, you're probably going to have to coach them on how to do it. Or what you can do this while you're training someone, what I often sometimes do is say, look, here's what I want you to do. You figure out what the answer is, because you don't want to spoon feed, you want to teach them how to think. But before you action it, you just run it by me for approval. So what you're teaching them to do is think for themselves and come up with a solution, so they're not spoon-fed, because then you're truly delegating, because then you've got someone that can think. One of my top team members, she joined the company when she was 19 or something, or 18, and she became a manager at 21. She could probably run a company by 24, 25, but highly efficient. But she knows how I think. So she runs my marketing department now. So she knows how I think, so she can just make a decision, because she knows exactly this is what Jamie would do. So you basically retrain someone else to replicate you, and that's very effective. So getting them to think for themselves, and then that's a skill that anyone can learn, and they become more efficient, more valuable to you, more valuable to society. Yeah, good question. Any other questions down the back? Yep, Bryony.
Just wondering what your definition is of the difference between hard work and work ethic.
Okay, yep, good question. The difference is this: you need to have a good work ethic to be successful, in the sense that you can't be lazy. You want to have the ability where you can take action and you're prepared to work hard. That's the difference. Often if you're prepared to work hard, you don't have to. If you're not prepared to work hard, you'll be working hard all your life, because you don't have freedom and you have a job. The difference with just saying working hard is that by working hard, it's understand that just working hard alone won't have you successful. So you can work hard. There is nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't guarantee success. So a strong work ethic is you're driven, you're naturally motivated, you take action, you have a capacity to work, but you accept that just working hard is not equal success, okay? You've got to work smart as well, okay? So it's being proactive, but you understand you've got to be smart, not just working hard. Work hard because you're passionate about it, work smart because you know that's how you get the result. Yep, makes sense? Any other questions? Yep, one right over here. Is this relevant to your businesses and life, yes or no? Your productivity is everything. Far away.
Hi, Jamie. The question I have is that in labour-intensive jobs, where you can't say, like the 80-20 principle applies,
yep.
If I go away from a job, 80% of the time my income will drop by about that. So you've put some pretty good principles in. Got any more hints?
Yeah, okay, so what you can do is sometimes, like if you're a doctor and you perform surgery, in a role like that, or you're a teacher and have to show up at class, then you have to, or a police officer, you have to physically be there at times. However, in any role in society, there's usually a lot of admin work. Even in government type jobs, it doesn't work as well because you generally have to be there. But there's usually a lot of admin work, which the 80-20, you can still speed up your admin work and delegate a lot of that. If you're in a physical career where you're, say a garden centre or something like that, and then you're physically got to be there to show the things, well, once you can still delegate that to someone else, okay, or train other salespeople. So you still got that. There's just efficiencies of running the business, making it more efficient, lowering the costs, having better admin. You can still do that. But then also you can get leverage. You can do what, if you wanted to grow a garden center and get more clients, you could do what the big stores do, the big garden centers. They would do, or Bunnings. Do they do free workshops? Yes or no? Almost any business can do free workshops. Why do they do free workshops? Because they get you in there, they teach you how to use the tools, etc. And that even if you've bought some of the tools already, you go, oh shit, I haven't got this, I need that, and you'll buy more stuff. Why? Look at Apple stores. Everyone's now wanting to model Apple stores. How clever. Everyone loves Apple stores because it's cool, people go there. Now you can sign up and they'll fix things for free, they'll do stuff, they'll teach you courses. It's how you get really good at using their products. They also know when you're in their store, you look at everything and you can't help yourself but buy more stuff. Making sense? So that's why do-it-yourself type workshops or do-it-yourself free classes, you're adding value to your customer. Jot this down while we're covering it, because this is a big part of selling. The more you educate, the less you have to sell. The more you educate your customers, the less you have to sell. Your goal should be to educate, add value, be the trusted advisor, not just be some salesperson trying to flog something for your own interest. Because people in Australia have good bullshit detectors. So, some people think they have to manipulate people, they have to use NLP, they have to try and pressure people. And I hate that crap. You know what I'm saying? If you can't be sincere, genuine, want to add value, why the hell are you in business? Because what I love about Australians, they can pick up bullshit detectors a mile away. Okay, it's true. Why bullshit? I hate this. And sometimes, a salesperson or something is they're new and they don't know how to answer a question. They'll try and just bluff. I teach people, if you don't know the answer, be honest and tell them, look, I don't know, I'll find out for you. Don't bullshit someone. Do you think they don't know? That you're just saying, yeah, we can do that? It's like, they know you're not convinced. It's like, no, absolutely, we know we can do that because they know. Or no, look, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not absolutely sure. I'm going to find out for you because I want to make sure, that it's accurate. Do people appreciate that honesty? Or even if it's your business and that people want a solution, go, look, I'll be honest, we can't deliver that for you, so here's what I'm going to do. There's such and such down the road, I know they can do that, or such and such company, speak to them, I know they can do that for you. Even if you send them to a competitor, are you now doing the right thing by that customer? Yeah, because you're being honest. You're not going, and it's how many times I used to want to buy real estate in Sydney at times and like $1 million plus properties. And I would go out, because I'm busy, I'd just email or have me to go to agents and say, all the agents there, going to be in Sydney these days, I'm going to be buying $1 million property plus. This is what I want. Whoever gets it for me, I'll give you the money. Do you think that's making it pretty damn simple? How many agents come with your deals, not what you want, and try and get you to buy something you don't want? I said, do not waste my time. I told you precisely what I want. If you get me that, I will buy it for you. If you don't have it on your stock list, how hard is it to go into another competing agent and say, can we do a dual listing or something, or I've got a potential client, can we split the commission? And just get the client what they want. Make sense? Otherwise, it's trying to bullshit or mislead or something. It doesn't work. It might work in the short term, but it doesn't work. True? Because we all appreciate honesty, so it's just a matter of saying, I don't know, or this is how it is, or educate. So the key is, and what a successful company is, look at Apple. Do they really have to convince you to buy their product? No, because they educate you how good the product is and you get a touch and feel for it. So then you want more. You want a business where clients choose to buy your product, not a business where clients have to be sold into why they should buy your product. Making sense? You want them understanding and they make the choice, because then the client owns the decision. True? They've made the decision on their own bat. They haven't been pressured. If you have a business that's relying on pressuring people into something, then what happens? You get, jot this down, buyer's remorse. It's true? And this is the danger of too aggressive marketing. We've got to balance it. You want to have sustainable long-term businesses, not pump and dump. There's too many people pump and dump marketers. They'll pump a business up, get a lot of sales, and then the business will fall over because it's not sustainable. So you don't want overly aggressive marketing. There's a balance to it. Sometimes in some markets you have to be aggressive to get the client, but you want to be able to deliver what you offer. Make sense? So you don't want over because you get buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse is if you're selling too hard, you'll get a lot of refunds. A lot of refunds. Okay, if you're not selling hard enough, okay, you probably sometimes some people don't sell hard enough. They don't, what I mean, sell. They're not educating the benefits enough. They're too busy about features of the product. There's all the great features. Who cares about features? Just tell me what result will it get me? Will it solve my problem? Will it get me the result? And will you guarantee it? That's what people want to know. Will it work? True? You want to be a company. Will it work? That's what people are after. So the point is, in any business, you can educate. You can offer free reports. Free, Garden Centre magazine that promotes the things. You're giving away stuff of Adivo, free workshops, okay? Or you can, then what we talk about after lunch, how you can JV and back end and make more money than just selling your initial product. You can often make more money by selling other people's products than your own products.
What's JV?
Joint venture. Joint venture. So we'll talk about that after lunch. Make sense? Any other questions? Okay, give yourselves a huge hand. We have a lot to get through in this session. I have limited time and I have more content to cover than I probably have time for. So what we're going to look at is 3 ways to grow a business. We're going to look at the marketing strategy you can use, which this is a template you can use for any business. You're going to have to modify it for what your business is now, but also your future businesses, okay? Then we're going to talk about the new rules of business for moving forward. The rules have changed in the last few years, and we're going to go through countless examples of successful companies that have used these new rules, and that's why they're growing and accelerating, and how you can take advantage of that. So there's 3 ways to grow a business. We talked about the marketing funnel, but let's look at what Jay Abrahams talks about, because this all fits into the marketing funnel, which we'll go through in some detail. Jot this down. Who's familiar with Jay Abrahams? Some of you may have heard him. I recommended one of his books yesterday. Number 1 way to grow a business. Jot this down. There's only 3 ways. One is increase the number of customers that a business has. That's pretty obvious, but that's one way. You say, well, how do you grow? It's not the only way, though. A lot of people, they simply focus on saying, okay, well, I've just got to get more customers. For many of you, I'm going to show you in a moment how you can grow a business without taking on any more new customers. There's some very powerful ways you can grow a business. And many businesses have got to stop chasing a new customer. They're so busy chasing a new customer that they neglect the ones that they have. Make sense? Statistically, it's 5 to 7 times easier to resell, jot this down, 5 to 7 times easier to resell an existing client than it is to get a new one. It is also cheaper because you already have a relationship established. You don't have to spend money on marketing. You already have an existing client. A new client will cost money to advertise to generate that new client. Okay? So one of the smart ways to grow a business, apart from increasing the number of clients, and we're going to show you how to rapidly do that through the marketing funnel. We talked about this yesterday. And at the top here, we're going to have lots of what? Prospects. So we're going to increase the number of prospects, and then they will convert. You'll have a conversion, the number of clients. Okay, so step number 2 is increase the average transaction, okay, of the value. So let's say what you're going to do is a couple of things you can do there. Increase the average transaction, is what we talked about yesterday. You're going to charge more. By putting the price up, you're going to increase the average transaction per customer. Okay? And number 3 there is then you increase the frequency of repurchase. Get more residual value out of each customer. They're the 3 ways to grow a business. Get more clients, charge more, okay, and get them to buy over and over again. That's the 3 different ways. Now you say, well, that's simple. Well, if you apply geometrically what this does to your business, then you'll see rampant growth. So let's look at some statistics. You have a handout on this, I believe, called the 3 ways to grow a business. We'll just show the next slide, Rob, and we'll go through that. So jot this for me. I actually have this on a handout. So what you want to look at here is, if you look on the slide, if you've got, let's say you have 1,000 customers in your business, and the average per sale price of your product is, say, $100, and increase the repurchase frequency. Say you get the people, your clients spend, say, twice a year. Okay, whatever your product is, so it's $100, they spend it twice a year, and you have 1,000 clients, your business is turning over $200,000 a year. Make sense? So what we want to look at, just like I used the example of my mum's coffee shop yesterday, by just increasing the price by 10%, dropped her bottom line profit, increased her bottom line profits by 300%. So you get a geometric. Now, when we combine three exponentials, not just increasing price, but increasing the average amount of frequency that they spend with you and increase the number of customers, you'll see the difference, and we add this in. So we go to the next slide, okay? If you don't go back, is it still on there? So jot this in, okay? If you add in, okay, a 10% increase of 1,000 clients, that means you have 1,100 clients, right? Because this is the formula you want to be working on in your business. This is what marketing is almost like a science. If you're tapping this down, it's not by accident. What you're going to look at in the marketing funnel is you're going to look at how many prospects you have, okay? And then you're going to have a percentage, okay, of these that convert. And that's going to give you what we would say your front-end product. We call it a front-end. Your first initial product that you sell a customer might be your typical product. In the Stefan's hair salon's example, his first level product is a haircut, right? So let's say it's a haircut in that example. And that's his front end product. So jot that down, front end. So in this example, if we increase this business by just 10% increase of clients, so put in the figure there of 1,100, okay? And we say, how do we charge more? Let's just put prices up by 10%. So times $110, make sense? Then increase the repurchase frequency rate by 10%. So say on average, instead of 2 times, 2.2 times is your average, okay? What you will see is that will increase, if you do the numbers, by increasing just by 10%, you end up with how much of an increase in total revenue? 33%, make sense? At 33%. So by increasing the things by 10% doesn't just give you a 10% growth in your business, that gives a 33% growth. Who here in your business right now would be happy in the next 12 months if you had a 33% growth? Who would be happy with that? You know, so who wants more? Okay. Of course you want more, but a 33% growth, if you compound that every year, you've got a significant business. But we're talking about how do we supersize that. We'll go to the next example, go there, 33% increase. So let's say we go from 1,000 customers to 1,330 customers. We're not even there. We're not talking like dramatic shift. We're just saying get an extra 33% customers in the next year. 33% more. And you have a 25% increase on your price. So your product goes from $100 to $125. Make sense? And you increase the repurchase frequency rate by 50%. So instead of 2 times, you now sell on average, the customer buys 3 times off you. Make sense? So we're not talking dramatic gains here. We're just a little bit, okay? But if you compound that, how much does that increase into? 250% growth in your business. Make sense? So what we're going to work on in your business is that each incremental change. It's like that golfer. Difference from $100,000 a year to $1 million a year, one shot over 18 holes. We're not talking major difference that you have to make. We're talking tweaking a business. That's why you can come into a business and look at a business and quickly increase its performance. If you want to buy businesses, these are the things you'll be looking at as well. But most people are running a business, they're running it blind. They don't even know, what their conversions are on each of these things. And they don't know where to go to work. This is like the chassis of your car. Imagine you're a mechanic and you don't even know what the chassis is. Okay? So then what you're going to say, well, if we can increase each of these, then we're going to get a higher performance. Making sense? Okay? This is like a science. And this is what you must understand about a business. The number of clients you've got, you've got to be able to measure it. If you can't measure something, you don't know what's going on in your business. If you don't know how many clients you've got, well, how the hell... You've got nowhere to measure from. Average sale price, by increasing the price makes a difference, and by increasing how many times they come back. And let me show you how this all works, okay? But a 250% increase, who would be happy with that, 250% increase? It means your business is doing $1 million now, okay, it's going to jump to 2.5 million. It's doing 10 million now, to 25 million. That's pretty rampant growth. $100 million business to 250 million. $1 billion company to 2.5 billion. Making sense? The fundamentals work no matter how big the business is. And the bigger a business gets, the more money each of these ideas is actually worth. That's the difference, okay? Jay Abrahams has said people pay $5,000 to $10,000 US an hour just to speak to him on the phone, and this is what he will teach you, okay? That's what he'll be looking for in the business. How do we do each of these things? So we're looking at, let's look at the marketing funnel. You come back to your marketing funnel. We're going to say, how do we, in a moment, look at all different ways, do we rampantly grow the number of potential customers? Because that will filter more down. We looked at an example yesterday with Stefan Hairdressers. He gave away free haircuts. Okay, so his front-end product might have been normally whatever he's selling a haircut for to women in particular. Let's say it was $100. Okay, he initially to get a lot of customers, he gave X amount of them away. Okay, gave it away, but what that brought back is repeat business. So the frequency, the amount of times customers come back, so the lifetime value increase. So how do you get more a lifetime value is increase the frequency, people come back. And then what you can do, okay, this is where you can get smart, is that increase the lifetime value of a business. Let's say the Stefan Hair Salons as an example, because you can apply this. I want you to think about this for all your businesses, okay? This is we're talking, these distinctions now can rapidly grow your company. One, what else, tell me, what else could Stefan in hair salons sell? Hair products. So he adds that. So that's what he called, jot this down, that's called a what product? A back-end product. Making sense? His front-end product is his haircuts. That's his front-end. Now, even in saying that, they would have a perm and then they have all the other stuff women do with their hair. Okay, no, whatever you do with your hair these days, straighten it and, darken it. All that stuff women do, okay? So there's multiple, he would have multiple products in there. Okay, that they would upgrade to. So that's why we target the demographic of women, because women spend more money on that, okay? Guys, all he's going to get out of a guy is 30, 40, 50 bucks a haircut, max, okay? 50 is probably pushing it, is that true? Yeah, not from you, no, but 20, that's what I say, 20, 30, 50. 50 is probably max you'll pay for a guy's haircut, okay? So what he could so what we would add in here to his business model to increase the value of his business is you would add in back-end products. And in this case, it's going to be hair products because they want to buy that, okay? So that's a natural increase in sales. And he created these white label. So what we call, jot this down, white label. So you don't have to create your own products. He's going to go and set up a factory and infrastructure to create hair care products. Or can he just go to an existing company that has a quality product and say, here's what I want to do. I will sell your product and get a commission. This is what I said earlier before. You say it's often you'll make more money out of selling someone else's product. You already have the customer. Instead of just chasing new hair customers for a haircut, upgrade them to your back-end products, which is all the hair straightening and all the other things that you do, and then introduce them to hair care products, okay, or wax or whatever. And so you introduce it. It doesn't even have to be your product. It can be someone else's product. And you take a commission to sell it to them, or you white label. You go to them and say, I want a white label, which means XYZ hair care products. It's white labeled as Stefan Hair Salon products. Does that give you more credibility? Because it's not just a dinky, little store, it's a franchise, and they have their own hair care products, whole range. It gives credibility. Also, because it's branded, now we're talking about branding. By branding it under his brand, the customers in the salons are more likely to buy it because they love him or they love his service. They're more likely to buy Stefan's hair care products. Making sense? Okay, so you can either white label or get a commission from selling someone else's products. For many of you in business, what you don't realize is that you can make more money from selling other people's products than your own. Okay, why? Because it's 5 to 7 times easier to sell an existing client than it is to go and get a new one. If you already have clients, here's the question to ask. Jot this down. And we're talking $1 million distinctions right now. Okay, so if you're not excited about this and you don't get this, you're going to miss millions of dollars. Okay, I will take it. Others in the room will take it. Okay, there's people in the world, entrepreneurs, will take it if you don't take it. So the question to ask, what else do my clients want? Another question, What else do my clients buy? Because you're going to start, that's how you're going to start thinking, what else do my clients want or what else do they buy? Because the question is, can you possibly deliver that to them? Instead of focusing on just chasing new clients, go back to your existing clients. What can you resell your existing clients? What do they want? So when you want to sell something, you want to find out if they want it first. Don't try and sell something people don't want. That doesn't work. Find out what they want. How hard is it to find out what they want? Ask them. What is it? Survey Monkey or Monkey Survey or whatever it is. Online is one thing Lou might talk to you about. Lou, will you talk to him about that? Survey Monkey, where you can just email out and they can fill out a questionnaire and it'll give you feedback, or you just ask them. Okay, a lot of companies will have the collect details and questionnaire or just get feedback. But you already know if you ask, what else do your customers buy and what else do they possibly want, and can you provide it to them? Okay, because what else? Do you tell me, Stefan, if he wanted to consider expanding into more products, what else could he sell? Possibly hair dryers. Hair dryers, it's possibly one. He'd have to do one test and measure. What else would sort of match up with that hair salon? Exactly, makeup, nails. Could also become a hair and nail salon. Is it true? He could do this a couple of ways. So he could have let's say he's got spare space in his hair salon. He could go and franchise out or contract out to someone that does that and charge them a fee to be there and a percentage of revenue. He could do that. Or he could go and employ a person to do nails. Because women come and get their hair done and then also get their nails done, or they come in sometimes to get their nails done and hair at a different time. So does that double the frequency? Yes or no? Yeah. If they get their nails done, probably more than your hair. Is that true, ladies? Okay. Women like to spend a lot on their nails. So once again, he could capture that. So this is another back-end product. Okay. So nails, he could add that in and he might end up making more money from that because there's no advertising. The customer's already there. They go, oh, I didn't know you did nails as well. Great. I might do that afterwards. Or next time I'll drop in and do that. Easy marketing. This is called low-lying fruit. You're picking up additional sales when your customers are already there. Making sense? Now, as we talk about this, you go, yeah, well, that sounds great, but I don't have a hair salon, so what's this got to do with me? Well, think about it. What is the nails for your business? What is the hair products for your business? That's what you want to be thinking. Because that's where you're going to add extra revenue. This is back-end products, the way you grow your business by providing, other products. And this is where branding comes in. By having a brand, you can carry products over, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So nails, what else can this business do? What else is associated with? Someone mentioned makeup, is it true? Waxing, possibly adding waxing, but the makeup, etc. Is there a big market for that? Yes or no? Yes. Makeup, cosmetics, all the facial creams, etc. Could he then does he have to create that himself, or could he white label it? He could white label it or just sell someone else's product. Let's say it's a really top brand. He might want to white label his brand because people might go, well, I've never used the Stefan makeup product range before, but L'Oreal is good, as an example. So sometimes you might use the other person's brand. It gives you credibility to be selling their brand, and you might get higher margins. Or you white label, you might be able to get higher margins. You work that out. The point is, once again, it's all extra revenue. Is he doing it? He hasn't even had to get more customers yet. All he's doing is increasing the average sale price, which he's done that by putting his prices up. But now he's increasing the frequency of purchase. He's extending, jot this down, extending the lifetime value of a client. But he's got more things to sell them. So each percentage, X percentage of people that buy a haircut, might stay and upgrade to other hair care products, and another percentage will stay and do their nails. Another percentage will buy makeup. You can see now how his business is growing. Not by hard work, by working smarter. What else is there? What about tanning salons? Is there a market for that? So you could say with his hair salon, is there room to put a tanning salon in there? It's one way he could do that. That's true. And it might go, yeah, I'm going to test it in one store. If it works, roll it out. He could pick up that extra revenue. Not only does he pick up extra revenue, but there might be people that are interested in tanning to get their tan done that never thought about getting their hair done. They go somewhere else. They go and get their tan done there, and guess what? They decide, oh, you cut hair as well. Maybe I'll get my hair done here. And what you start to do is your other products range starts to generate new clients into the business or into the funnel you would normally not attract it. Making sense? So all of a sudden you can use something else to generate revenue. Or you can do this. You go, well, there's no room for the tanning salon. I don't want to confuse the clients what I'm actually in, because some businesses are very powerful just by being focused, right? Okay, you look at Starbucks. Starbucks become a huge company, one of the largest franchisees in the world, because most coffee stores before that used to sell everything but the coffee, basically everything. With Starbucks come out and they say, well, let's just focus on one thing, coffee, and that's it. And let's be really good at that. And they own that space. Is it true? Not so much in Australia or Melbourne, because Melbourne, you like all your different coffee shops. But in America, etc., around the other countries, Starbucks is still huge. Okay? Why? Because if you go to Starbucks, you're going there to get coffee. Now, they do have expanded their product range, but initially they were very focused. Okay? So in some industries, you just need to be focused, okay, to generate. And then obviously you can back end it from there. So in this case, they can go, well, yeah, tanning salons, we tested, it's too much space. We're not making enough money per space it's taking up. Why can't they just go then and refer and hand out a voucher at their store for a tanning salon down the road? Can they do that? Yes or no? And do a JV, a joint venture, and get a commission. So a tanning salon creates a special voucher. If Stefan's hair clients go down the road with this voucher, they'll get a discount and you'll track and you'll be paid a commission for that. Can you do that? Yes or no? So often you can turn your traffic, remember when we talk about internet traffic, but this is like retail traffic to a store, and you can cross-promote, cross-pollinate, cross-promote with other companies. And this is now talking about, instead of competition, co-opetition. Instead of competition, co-opetition. I'll give you an example in the education industry, 21st century. One of the reasons it's the largest player in our industry in Australia is because most other competitors were competitive. They compete with each other. And I'm not into that. I'm into the abundance model. So I said, you know what? Let's go out and co-op with them. Let's go and bring other top speakers and have them present at our programs. And let's work with our so-called competition. Don't see it as competition. See everyone as part of your team. Who's following what I'm saying here? As a result of that, we tripled our turnover because clients didn't have to go elsewhere. They can come to us. Instead of just getting X amount of strategies, they can now learn a much broader range of strategies and broader range of education so we can reach more people. Who's following what I'm saying? Because everyone will relate to different people. Okay? So what you want to do is that you want to look at co-opetition. Sometimes your competitors could actually be turned into JV partners. Making sense? So the tanning salon could potentially, not a direct competitor, but is other competition in the street if you've got a retail shop where you can be making money off that. Making sense? Okay. Then another thing might be massage. How many women might want a spa and massage? Do you have the capacity in your store to add that? Or give a voucher, a JV to another store. Making sense? So these things, you start thinking, how can I apply this to my business? What else can I do? Because this is going to dramatically ramp up your business. So you start doing some numbers on your own business, which I think if you have a page there, that can dramatically. So on the next page, you have there, you got an opportunity to fill out the numbers for yourself. So you want to go and say, in your business, if you were to increase price by 10%, say, increase your customers by 10%, if you can get them to come back 10% more, there's a 33% increase. They're the numbers you'll start to play with. This is like a formula, okay? So now what we're going to focus on is let's also generate more clients, because imagine if you were to double 1,000 clients to 2,000 clients, and you were to just increase the sale price. Imagine if you could double the sale price and you could double the amount of frequency. The exponential growth is just going through the roof. Through the roof. And some of these strategies are what you can do with a business. So let's look at what we can do to rapidly grow a business. So apart from extending, does everyone see extending the back-end products? You want to have more back-end. Some of you have a business that you have no back-end. You have one product. That's it. And you're missing the game. Because what you can do is, you say, when in the moment when I talk about how to grow a business by using free, Many of what you're going to do is create a free product up here to attract all these people, or you might turn your existing product into free, okay? But you need a back end to make it worthwhile. If you have a back end, it's then worthwhile to be able to give something away for free because you have a lifetime value of a customer. If you just got one sale, that's it, they never come back again, you don't have a repeat business, and you have nothing else to offer them, then you have a business that is very unstable. Make sense? Okay, so here's what we want to do. Jot this down. The other effect of this is what is called, draw this out, it's called the Parthenon. Now, these are things that I've used to build multi-million-dollar companies. It's the same template. If I start another company, it's the same template. You're replicating a system over and over again. Okay? So the Parthenon is, if you're obviously in Athens, you'll know what the Parthenon is. Okay, I remember being on a Kentucky tour many decades ago, and I was in Rome. And my whole goal was to see the Parthenon. And I'm saying to the tour leader, okay, I've seen the Colosseum, I've seen all the other stuff. Where the hell is the Parthenon? And the tour leader laughs. She's like, that's in Athens. Right, okay. So Parthenon is in Athens. So what the Parthenon effect is in marketing, and this is once again $1 million distinction. This is why most businesses fail. Most businesses fail because, let's say, they only have one way to generate business. In this example, say one column, direct sales. Let's say that's the way. They have a direct sales team, and that's the only way they grow their business. And that's the challenge. Because if that stops working, they're out of business. Or what if their only way to grow getting leads of customers, like a modern business in Australia, is Yellow Pages? And let's say that dries up, stops working for them. They're out of business, okay? Or what if their only way of doing business is Google Ads, and that's their only way, and that stops working for them, they're out of business. The point is, you don't want a Parthenon with one leg, you want a Parthenon with many legs to be more stable. So if you look on here, we can say instead of just having direct sales as a channel to grow your business, you might have a telemarketing team. Like my friend shared the story, like in New Zealand, the Yellow Pages telemarketing team, and he grew his business. You might have, jot all these things down. These are critical, right? Because in your business, how many of these Parthenon legs do you actually have? How many are you using? Because if you start using more, you can dramatically increase the number of customers you can get. And that whole formula, the 3 ways to grow a business, will just go ballistic for you. Referrals. In your business right now, do you have a proper referral system? Many businesses don't. They don't ask for referrals. They don't incentivize referrals. So you want to have referrals. Part of that might be affiliate systems, especially on the internet. Do you have an affiliate program, which is a referral program online? Okay. You know, in our past, we've built up companies as much as 7,000 online affiliates referring business to some of our companies. 7,000. They're advocates, a zero-cost marketing team, fully automated, and they're on performance only. They get a commission or referral. Make sense? So you've got powerful ways driving you traffic to your shop or to your internet, to your website. Joint ventures is there. Now, I'll give you a clue. Joint ventures, circle that. One of the smartest, fastest ways to grow a company is through joint ventures. Let's say a customer has a company has a database of 100,000 people. It's taken them 10 years to build up. If you can go and joint venture with that company and have them email or mail out to their database an offer from you, you can leverage off 10 years of their work, their goodwill, their brand, and you can generate revenue from that. Make sense? So you can exponentially grow a business through doing joint ventures with other companies. They'll do it all the time. Okay? Credit card companies will do a mail out. They'll sell products and services with the credit card statements. Is that true? They'll have little flyers in there, frequent flyer programs or whatever. A discounted price to go to Hamilton Island or something like that, or wine, packages of wine that you can buy. They'll joint venture with other companies because they're already mailing out the credit card statements. They might as well throw a brochure in there that promotes a few other things, and they'll pick up extra revenue. Making sense? So they're not only joint venturing, but they're adding a back end. So they might be in the credit card business, but they're picking up money from other people's products off the same database. Clever. Repeat after me. Something to think about. It's all about modeling and seeing what the big companies do. Okay? So the other thing you got to look at is, I say advertisers. You might be doing newspaper advertising. You might add radio advertising, TV advertising. There's so many different methods that you probably haven't considered. Then I talked about back-end products there. Well, obviously promoting a back-end product and endorsements, getting endorsements or from other companies or testimonials or JVing, etc. These are just some examples of lead generation. There's heaps of ways. The question when you think about your business right now, how many ways are you actually using? Are you just relying on one method? You go, why are you using that method? Well, that's what everyone in our industry does. They just have telemarketers phone people out of the yellow pages. That's all they do. Some business, that's all they do. Might be successful, but they could be 10 times more successful if they had a Parthenon effect. Make sense? So quickly turn to the person next to you. Teach them the Parthenon, back-end products, the marketing funnel, and then we're going to look at how to fill this funnel rapidly. Go for it quickly.